instead of just myself all the time. At least I enjoy that when I go on other people's streams. But anyway, how's everybody doing? How's all your projects going? Yeah, there's a little bit of hiccups here. We'll get through it. Fortunately, this week's been a little ugh. But at the top there, guys, you can click follow, and if you're interested in following it all, I have been streaming. I think I just streamed yesterday. It was the last time that I streamed, and it's a little bit more casual, a little more, you know. I've got the big deadlines and stuff with this to do, so I figure a little motivation to get us going sometimes is just to ask friends and other people to come on in and just sort of, draw away. Yeah, I was streaming yesterday. And as much as I do have work to do, this stream is on Wednesday anyway is meant for you guys and you girls out there. So if you had any comments or questions or needed help with anything, please just ask them in the chat in capitals, and I will do my best to answer them if I can. Right now, this is the Worlds in Peril stuff that we're working on. I think you guys saw me draw this. I don't know if it was last week or last stream, perhaps. And so we're just going through and doing some shadow work, or I like to call it like inking. Most of the line art's already done, and then we have to color it and stuff. So a lot of the inking that I'm doing is pretty simple stuff, like just solid shapes. Not really worrying too much about if it's perfect. Deadline's taking priority right now on this project. You guys will hear me say that over and over again. What's that, Lars? I think I found the difference between before you reach 50 subscribers now. You can now donate $5 when you subscribe. Yeah, there is a subscribe button at the top for anybody that feels like subscribing. I'll just tell you straight up. I tried to check, and I didn't see anything. But if you guys know, please tell me. I didn't notice, like, you guys don't really get anything for subscribing, which is kind of weird to me. But if you feel like throwing money at me, hey, that's... Not going to say that's a bad thing. But I do have, if you are going to throw money, I mean, head over to Patreon. There's things you can get there anyway if you're going to give money, you know. And again, unless I find out what it is through here, there might be something worthwhile. Besides just saying, like, thanks or whatever the hell. But head over to Patreon if you're going to do so. There's, you get some free brushes and stuff. I hate saying free brushes because you have to donate to get them, but you guys know what I mean. Alright, so this is a night shot here, so there's quite a bit of shadow, so it makes our job a little easier. Just trying to find areas to black out shapes here just to create some contrast and some interest, and to like move the eye around. Just do some line weight action here. See what's going on with this here. Alright, let's see if we're going to render this guy out. Just putting like this little bit of a bump at the top just to add some texture when we fill this with black. All right, let's see what it turns out here. That works a little bit there. Will you be doing critiques last 15 minutes again, or you wait till? Yeah, actually, I haven't even thought about that. Yeah, so what we used to do, we'll do it tonight as well. I'll give you guys a shout out. The last 15 minutes of the show, I'll throw out. We'll open up the commissions again, and all you gotta do is just send me something through chat here. I don't know how it works. I think the links work on this one. And I can quickly take a look at it and just give me an idea of what it is you're looking to get critiqued, and I'll do my best to help you out. Okay, just break this up a little bit. All kinds of crunchy blacks, I like to call them in here. It's like you start getting like these little like bumps and nicks and all kinds of little like grit. I want to spend too much time in here. Save as. So we're going to be inking this one, and I'll show you the other image that we'll be inking. And I was letting people know yesterday. So I have to do 2 of these images a day to catch up on the deadline. And what's going to happen here is I'm already telling, or I can already tell that it's like, okay, well, if I have to just do like the actual pencils, thumbnail, inks, and color in a day for 2 of these, I don't think I'll be able to do it. So these weekends that are coming up are going to be very important. I'm basically dedicating my weekends to just line art, getting it to this stage so that I can hammer out these inks. Sorry about that. Let me shut that off. Hammer out these inks throughout the week. But it makes things very tough, very tough to be doing this sort of thing. What's that, JP? You dropped the multi-stream. I have no desire to hear coughing and sniffling into a mic for the next hour. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, it was. We're trying to get it to work there. That's okay. Hopefully, we'll get it at least once just to try it out. It's always fun to have other people on the stream. Alright, so let's get some more light going on here so we can actually get this kind of cool light effect here. And this is one of the reasons I like working with a lot of shadow is, don't get me wrong, it's pretty tough. And I'm not doing great with it. I've just been drawing for a while, so I can get away with at least some confidence of what I'm what I'm doing with lighting and stuff. Definitely something I want to practice more on. But when you're tight on a deadline, if you can get to the line art stage, and arguably you might not even have to get like this tight, you know, and you just start throwing in some heavy shadows like we got here, it actually gets you quite a bit of mileage. You know, I know there's that quote, I forget who said it, if in doubt, black it out. But it's also a very powerful composition tool. Definitely something I wouldn't shy away from. I would try to, if you're hesitant at all to start learning shadow work, or like these heavy inks, maybe you do like an anime or a cartoon style, I highly recommend spending some time maybe just trying to figure out some of this stuff, because it'll probably help you out I can guarantee you it'll help you out with at least your compositions and just character design too. Maybe not necessarily your comic pages, if your style is like a simpler style. But just being able to do something like this, if you're in a crunch, it's very valuable stuff. Wally Wood, okay, thank you. Lars is saying, I forget who said it in the chat some time ago, but the person said something like, it's not about the shadows, it's about where the light hits. And that just confused me even more. It's sort of just like flipping the thought on your head. So in this case, let's take a look at this building here. So the shadows are on the right here, right? So if you're normally thinking about it, you're thinking, well, where do I just put the shadows? If I look at this guy, it's okay, where's my light source? And this is sort of like the reverse thinking there, like that person said, is it's where the light hits. So it might make it easier for you to think of it that way. Some people like to think of shadows and stuff in two different directions, right? But it's the same result, in my opinion anyway. Okay, so let's just say we're gonna do two circles real quick. So if you're thinking about it like how I like to think about it, is where do the shadows fall? We'll say the light's coming from here on both of these shapes. Here, let me just do it so it's a little clearer. Right? So if I'm thinking about the shadow, I'll just go, okay, well, the shadow is most likely here on this side, right? Whereas if you're thinking, no, it's not where the shadow is, it's where the light hits, that might click something in your head to make it clear. So what you would do, what you're kind of thinking that way, is this whole thing, like everything is always in shadow. The only reason we can see things is because of light bouncing and hitting into our eyes, right? So it would be this sort of thing. Well, no, where's the light hit? So you're drawing, okay, so the light's hitting here. You know, something like that. It's the exact same effect. It's just some people learn differently than others. So sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience. I've had it a whole bunch of times where it's people will say something to you, you kind of understand it, and then, oh, they say it in a different way, or you think about it just a little differently, and all of a sudden things click. Okay, let's get back in here. I think that I had something else I was going to add to that. But I got into this and it disappeared. It's gone. Actually, this whole thing could probably be just shadow here. JPD74. I didn't understand half of what you do about storytelling when I was at 11. Yes, there are things we can improve on, just like we all do. But you guys are talking about Noah. Noah's the 11-year-old prodigy in the chat. I'm just gonna. I shouldn't do this, but I just want to add a little bit of rendering here, just to help add the grunge a little bit to this place. Oh, it's totally cool. He deserves it. That's fine if we go there. All right, so let's just take a look at how the black's looking here. Sometimes I'll just do that. Sometimes like just flooding it in black, even though I had it white in certain spots. You know, you just want to check out how the light's working. It should look like that. I kind of like the style of that. Of just having this white highlight here. But what I want to do just to make it feel like it fits, I guess, a little bit more, is we're going to continue the highlight. So I'm just going to carve out where that white's hitting. Sort of a little bit of a back way of doing this. Could be a highlight from a car or something like that. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Let me just turn all this garbage off here. This was the thumbnail that we had, or the original pencils that I did. Now, what was I thinking for the color here, or the shadow work? It's pretty open on that side. Okay, well, sometimes we'll just throw in like just a black, just to see how it feels. We can always undo after. It's getting too much shadow. Alright, well in this case I guess what I'm going to do here is, until I let my brain figures it out, I'm just going to light this guy. I want the light kind of coming from beneath him here. So we're going to get this cool, or I'm going to try to get this cool like underlight on him. Now when I draw flesh on characters, I try to, at least lately, try to be mindful of it anyway. Let's go ahead and just put it all back there. Of keeping the rendering and the shadow very, very sparse. You know, like I don't want to go too much. Yeah, this is totally ripped off from Terminator. Absolutely. But in this case, when we have like a dramatic light source, I'm going to try to do. This would be like an exception. Because when you start adding shadow like this, hopefully you're adding some drama, some emotion to the image. Whereas if it's just like people talking, having a conversation, or getting ready for go to battle and stuff. Okay, where I'm going with this is my brain's everywhere today, guys. Interesting day. Maybe we'll get into it. So my brother had an analogy for this too. It's the same thing. I'm just trying to find a proper way of illustrating it to you guys, but it'll work with shadows as well. Or it's music. That'll be a good one. People can relate to that. So there are only loud parts in a song if there's quiet parts in a song. Okay? Meaning, if the beat's like a, doom, 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 that's like that, and then you get the double bass well, that going, and like everybody's just crashing on instruments and stuff, then you feel it. But then as long as it goes back to doom, doom, right? Like there's the slow and then there's the loud parts. It can only be loud if there's soft spots, and it can only be soft spots if there's heavy parts, right? In story, the action can only be as awesome as all the slow parts that came before it. Do you see what I'm saying there? Hopefully, I know I'm being a little kind of out there, I think. If you write a story, or if you think of, let's use an example, Aliens. Hopefully you guys have seen Aliens. I think a lot of people think Aliens is a really, action film. There's a lot of action that happens in it. If you watch it, there's really no action. There's not that much action at all. It's just that when the action's happening, it's because most of the movie's pretty quiet. So what does that have to do with this? Well, when you're working in an image like this, look at all the shadow I have. I don't want to have him totally in shadow. I want him to be the light spot so that the rest of it looks darker. If everything's in shadow, then nothing's in shadow. Okay? If everything's loud, then nothing's loud. You have to be able to compare it to something else. Exactly, dark and light. That's exactly right. Yes, comparison between extremes. You guys are, you guys know exactly what it's called. So, in saying that, I want this to be obviously the light source down here, but I want to add a little bit of shadow because I want to add that drama to it. But I don't want to just kill this guy in solid black everywhere, because then he's going to drown into the background, and we don't want that. He's the focus, right? So, in saying that, what are some things we can do here? Well, I could try to keep like this gross kind of white hatchy stuff to the rendering. A lot of rendering and detail everywhere else to a degree. But in this, it's just flat. There's no rendering at all. Just try to do clean shadows just to sell a little bit of the drama. So I want a little bit of an underlight. So the light's hitting here. I'm just going to thicken that spot. Actually, I think his whole lip would be black, but that looks a little weird. Let's see if we can highlight his upper lip instead. That's better. Like that. Maybe we can just kind of give him some bangs. Again, just trying to be pretty minimal with the shading here. Or the blacks, I should say, sorry. I am going to go a little heavy up here just so that his pecs can hopefully pop a little bit so that the giant white space above would be his neck and all that stuff. And he probably needs a nipple or two. It's always fun thinking about like inking like this with like weird shadows because it really racks the brain, at least for me. I don't really draw too much angles like this. It's usually the standard where the sun is kind of thing. What's that, Uki? Is it cast shadows because the light is closer? Yeah, like theoretically, if I could do the well, not if I could. You can do anything when you're working, but this whole bottom is light. So let's just say there was a wall behind him, something to cast his shadow on. His shadow would probably be, I mean, if the light's this close to him, it'd probably fill up like all of that. That's the idea I'm going for, okay? But I am taking a little bit of liberties on the light source here because it's, you know, it's a little, well, it's not a little, it's make-believe here. Having like a giant light source underneath of you. I'm not even sure if this is a bad guy. I know obviously in Terminator it is when Arnold shows up in the first movie. But this is just pulling off of motifs there. This is make-believe? Throw some cast shadow on the truck. Yeah, what the hell? We could try that too. Cast shadow. Let me just write that on there. Give it a shot, see how she looks. Those areas in black. Now, my original version of this, the shadow was coming from the top is where I wanted to have it. So there's this area right here where his schwantz and junk should be. We don't want that, but we can get away with doing something else. I'm going to grab white here, and we're just going to sort of sketch it all out. So I know when I go in to color this, all that's got to be flooded with like a bright white. Is he teleporting? This is like, I guess he's teleported from the future or something. Just think of Terminator, 100%. It'll probably just make the storytelling here a little easier. You're having trouble. I have a lot of issues when spotting blacks and knowing when to stop rendering. It's practice. It really is. I mean, I don't think there's really an easy way to tell you what to do besides practice. I would recommend looking at your favorite comic book artists or other illustrators that do a lot of shadow work, and just redrawing what they do. Pick a couple comic pages or something that you like, and just draw that, and see how that feels. See if you can kind of grab a little understanding from them. That would be my recommendation there. I know I said I didn't want to do too much rendering, but I just want to have a little bit up here just to help push this stuff back into shadow. Always remember you're wrapping around forms here. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think we need to kill this here. Okay, so let's see if we can get a little cast shadow action here. It's a little, well, there's certain things you have to get on here so that people understand what it is. So he's hunched over, but one of his defining features here, that besides a naked man, is the curls in his hair. So let's just push that out there. Hey, welcome, man. Glad you can make it. So we can get like some arm action here. Alright, so we're going to have this cast shadow there. Let's just fill this in with black, just so we can kind of see what's happening. My instinct is to not make this all black, but I don't know, I kind of want to too, which then makes it not my instinct. See how that looks. We'll fill that in black. Okay. How much time we got here? Okay, so we're still going. This, oh, I didn't show you guys. This was the other one we're gonna do. I don't know if we're gonna have time, but if you guys remember this one, it's people were calling it Groot. It's a guy who's turning into like a plant man. I don't know if this happens in that movie. I haven't seen it, but this one, again, it would probably be the heavy dramatic lighting on this one too. But this one here, let's see if we can get this one finished, so we can get some inks on that. Once again, I don't want to have too much rendering going on, so just a lot of solid blacks here. Yeah, no, I haven't. I haven't seen it. Everybody tells me I need to see it, and it's not that I don't want to see it. I guess I just haven't. I don't know. Lately, whenever I have free time, and I actually saw this really cool quote. It was on Facebook for a little while. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's something about there's no such thing as free time. There's just I even forget how it went. I got the meaning of it, which was basically time's kind of what you make of it. So if you're like, oh, you like to save things for when you have your free time. Well, you don't really ever have free time. You just have time you're not doing something. So the idea is always do what you should be doing. Anyway, but that time, whatever you want to call that time, free time, has been spent doing Magic the Gathering. God, it's such a good game. Going to tournaments and stuff, getting social, getting out of the house, meeting people. Well, playing against people in tournaments and stuff is a little different than meeting people. My girlfriend will dig it? Okay, alright. Alright, how are we going to render this? I haven't even seen like Iron Man 3. It's like I don't like superheroes or something. Can we start critiques? Oh yeah, it is 45. Well, the stream started late because there were some technical problems. So if you guys want, just give me a second here. Just get some critique. Get your stuff ready. I'll ask in about a few minutes here. I just want to finish doing just this inking here, and then I can try to help you out. Thank you for your patience. What am I doing? Alright, let's see if we can get some of these inks in here. Let's erase this stuff. Alright, I think this is rendered out to all hell. Oh, forgot this. Forgot the background. I'm just going to carve in some shapes here just to hopefully add a little bit of interest to the shadow here. Alright, so I think this one's done here. Let's take one more look at it here. We're going to flip it just to see if there's any massive things that are popping out that just feel a little weird. The perspective, like I have a grid in here where this is supposed to go, but still does feel a little weird up top here. So what we're going to do is fill this up black here. It actually looks worse. Okay. Okay, anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna close or save this up here. So if you guys want, jam in a couple links to some critiques. Please use my name in all capitals. Post a link, and also include why you want me to look at it, what you need some help with. Okay. And then I'll grab one or two at random, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's close this up here. Okay. All right, so Noah's up first. Yeah, he had the finger on the trigger. So Noah's asking, John, please critique. This is for Toronto Comic Con. You want to make it as good as possible. Okay. Batman. Copy image. That was weird. Why that close? I think I just. Come on. Alright, we don't need the paper. Just rotate this guy. Okay, so it looks like we got a Batman page, which is cool. What's that? I said loses second panel border to give. Okay, so you guys were kind of critiquing this. So Un was saying, just to catch everybody else up here that's watching the YouTube version here. And I will say too, I'm just going to do a little plugging here before we get into the fun stuff. If you guys wouldn't mind, please head on over to patreon.com/JonathanRector. If you guys wanted to toss me a buck, or there's also critique like this that we can do. The critiques I do through Patreon, they're a little bit more in depth. Sometimes I record a video, or I just take some pictures and you can have that to download, just of me kind of going over your own work. So by all means, please check that out. And I also offer it's like a 1-hour Google Hangout session where we can go over anatomy, comic books, schooling, all kinds of stuff. You guys might be interested in that, so check on over there. And if you don't have any money to throw at me, that's cool too. You guys can actually see at the bottom of the chat, it's very simple for you to do. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting tweet, Google share, Facebook share, Tumblr, whatever you guys got around, just spreading the streams and the YouTube videos everywhere online, if at all possible, that goes a long way as well. So thank you guys so much for that. And then we'll get back into here and draw some good stuff. Let's draw some pictures. So Un was saying, Jar, I said lose the second panel border to give Batman a sexy scene. Okay, so I got to agree with that. So I'm just going to look at this as if I was an editor. I have to think about this as if I was the guy that was not necessarily going to give you work for Batman. I'm just a DC editor, and I'm looking at for raw storytelling based on what I like. Okay, and we'll see what happens here. So right off the bat. Let's clean this up here and look at it. If you don't mind, I'm actually just going to where we got here. Layer setting, no. Is it edit? There we go. Level. I'm just going to darken it up here so we can see it a little better. Okay. Just makes it easier for everybody at home. Okay, so right off the bat here, we're looking. I'm going to have to zoom in just to see. Looks like we got a building. It's a pretty generic building, probably a factory. Then we see Batman. I don't know where Batman is, so I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here just to make it a little clear. Okay, so we have a shot of this place here. Batman's here. I don't know where Batman is in this scene just yet. Okay, at least in what was drawn in. Let's just get a big fat brush here. In panel 1, question mark, where is Batman? Batman looks surprised, and all of a sudden he's looking down. So I have to assume the only recurring prop piece that you have is this truck that I can tell. So this truck shows up here, and it shows up here. So based on that, that means Batman's up here somewhere. Now, I don't know what these are. I'm assuming these are just bad scans, just debris or something that's on there. But Batman should be up here. I'll show you a couple ideas that you can easily do just to get that across. Batman's looking surprised again. I'm assuming because he sees the two bad guys. So here's a problem, okay? I know these two guys are shooting this rocket into the building, but this doesn't look like this building. You have this object here in front of the door, and you have it here, which is awesome, right? That's great. Now I know that. I know that as an arts, like from an art background. But what you did is a problem with perspective here. You put the fence here, which is great. It's great for storytelling. It guides the eye. Awesome. But look how far the fence is. It's way over here. In this image down here, you've got these guys standing like right here. And all of a sudden there's a fence that shows up, but there's no fence there, okay? So that's a problem. I will tell you right now, it's in my opinion, and you know, take it or leave it. Hopefully you get something out of this. I want to be brutal, but I got your best interests in mind. Please remember that. And I don't know how long this took you to do. I'm hoping it took you 5 weeks to do. But I'm going to ask you to do it over. Okay? And we're just going to go over. I'm going to give you a reason what I do. Take from it what you like. Erase some things to change it. But I would recommend starting over, not because I think this is a failed piece, just because I think you can do better. Okay, and hopefully what I show you, and I don't mean this in a conceited way, hopefully it helps you understand where I'm coming from with that. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to write in dark blue. Let's grab our C-Tech here. If it's the right door they're shooting at, the top left panel might be better if the camera was between the fence and the truck. That's right. Yeah. So we're gonna do some stuff here. So I'm gonna write the script here. I don't know what the script is, but I'm going to assume you're just doing this on your own. There might be a script you're looking at. Honestly, I think if an editor was looking at this, like if I am the editor and I looked at this, I'm not going to ask you for the script. I'm not going to go, can I see the script so I can put these next to each other? Because the moment I ask you for the script, that means the art and the story itself isn't telling me the complete picture. Okay? So, if that's the case, I'm just doing this piece for myself. You have total liberation to do what you want. So, we'll call this page 1. Some things I want to have is Batman waits at factory. Waiting for... Who is this? The Red Hood? Is that his name? I'm not too familiar with these characters. I'll call him Red Hood. I could be wrong. Waiting for Red Hood. Red Hood attacks building. Now, as I write this, I'm kind of thinking, just based on you have it, that these guys were already here and they're getting ready to blow this up, and Batman just showed up in time. Okay, so that might be a different... I can't imagine Batman would just be waiting and watching them explode stuff. So I'm just going to pretend it's that. So there's a couple things here that we need, and I'm going to highlight it in red here. Okay, so Batman waits at the factory. That's important. Batman is important. I'm assuming this might be the first page we see Batman. Red Hood is important, and they attack the building. So right here, if you wanted to break it down, you could combine things, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. You've got, just count the circles. Those could be your panels. So we've got 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel, 4 panel. Now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, a lot of action happening there, which is fine. I think 7's kind of like a standard in a way. So the next thing that I do is I recommend you guys do this. I know not a lot of people like doing it, but it really takes no time. You're going to see exactly how much time it takes. Is draw a floor plan of where this is. As if you were like a bird flying over this, or you're Superman, we'll keep it superhero related, and you're flying over this scene. If you were to take a snapshot, what does this place look like? Okay, so let's just draw like a layout plan. So we've got this. Maybe there's a road that's going this way, and I'm trying to think of it like a factory. You know, you got your trucks able to come in here, like that. This is probably all fence. And I'm going to try to use what you have here just to sort of ground this in reality here. So we've got this giant factory, smokestacks, cool smokestacks. In front of it, there's probably parking, right? And maybe, I don't know, these guys are breaking in through the front. That's fine. I'm going to keep that fence that you have here on the side because that's kind of cool. Maybe the side of this building here. Maybe this is where the fence is here, and there's like a reactor or something in here. You know, like a power thing. Like this is it. There's nothing, you know, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. But that's all I need. What this does is this lets me know if I was shooting this like a movie, and these would be my cameras. A lot of screenplay things tell you this. This is where I can shoot my film. Only in this direction. So that means I can only show this face on. If I ever put the camera back here, you break that sort of illusion, that process that's happening there, okay? So knowing this, let's start to design the page, and it kind of helps make your camera choices a little easier here, okay? So I'm just going to really quickly just do a real quick scribble here. So we got Batman awaits at a factory. So that's an establishing shot. We get to see Batman, all that cool stuff. There's a few things like other artists do, like Ray Capullo. He'll put like a giant panel down here where you could have the whole factory up there, and you could have the trucks down here. It just shows the height that's there. I don't like that all the time. It's kind of weird pacing when you read it, for me anyway. So we got a couple panels here. The next thing to figure out really is, okay, so we've got an establishing shot, that's important. Batman, that's important. Red Hood, that's important. And attacking the building, that's all important. Usually on a page you want to have at least, or just one thing that's the drive. What is the point of this? Is it the attacking in the building? That seems pretty big. Is it the big reveal of Batman? I don't know. I think if this is page 1, I'd rather have Batman there, but in the shadows. I want the action to be this explosion shooting in. That way we can save maybe like next page to be the big reveal when Batman swoops in and he kicks the guys in the face kind of thing, right? That's just my opinion. Everybody's going to have their own comic book storytelling, illustration, passion. Okay, so that's up to you guys to do your version of the story. So if I want the explosion, that means somewhere down here is going to be a pretty big panel. We'll figure it out as we go. So we need a bigger panel here. So that means we still need an establishing shot. I'm just trying to think here. What I'm doing here is trying to determine flow, because you start the page here and you have to end here, right? So I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of tilts right now, but really I'm complicating things. Just keep things in simple boxes and rectangles and worry about tilts later. So we'll do just like a wide shot here as if it was on film. I'll even bring it in like this. Is that the eraser? Yep. Like that. And again, this just goes to talk about, remember, if every panel is big, no panel is big. So in this case here, you have the same panel over and over again, so it's all the same panel. Even though this panel here, Batman's surprised, if you went and you just removed even just this panel here, let's just say, you got Batman. It's probably a little harder to see that, but just freeing it up sometimes breaks up the panel pace or the page pacing. Okay, so we got an establishing shot here. Batman looking all sneaky. I kind of like when you're gonna see what we're gonna do here. I like the idea of kind of doing this sort of thing. Again, keeping it simple. Just breaking up the panels a little bit here. I'm just gonna draw it in here because I already like the idea. You guys see it all the time. I want that close-up of Batman's eyes. I like keeping him in the shadows for now. And again, I'm coming at this that this is page 1 of the pitch that I'm giving to DC, right? I'll show you guys right now what I'm thinking for this first panel is I want that truck showing up. Whoops. Actually, I'll leave this so I can show you a problem that this is problem solving on the fly, okay? So you guys can just see me organically go through this here. So I want that flow coming in from the left to the right. So we're going to bring in the truck right up in front of us here. It's got these big tires right in the foreground. Get a nice close-up of the hood, or the truck. And here we can put the factory like this. We know right here, this camera shot is like somewhere around here, looking this way. So that means we get to have our fencing here. That's cool. But what we get to do is do this sort of thing right up here. Is you can put a little silhouette. And I know this might seem a little like, well, how do they not see Batman on the roof? But try to have his cape sort of thing hidden there. Now what this does is it breaks the panel or the flow of where Batman is, because in this panel he's looking from the right to the left, and then in this one he's looking from left to right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip this one. Where is flip horizontal? I think it's that one. No, that's upside down. There we go. Okay, so we zoomed in there. Now what we can do is, we've already established where the building is. Maybe we can kind of get a different shot here. I like what you have here with his giant back getting ready to shoot that rocket. That's really cool looking. I mean, we can even break up this panel just to show some explosions. I try to come at this stuff pretty organic. I don't want to go too much with a lot of stuff. Let's just see if we can get some pacing going here again, right? So we've got truck going to the right, Batman looking down here. So let me just draw in red so you can see so far where we're going. So we're here. You see Batman, hopefully. He's looking here. Now if we can somehow get like that action, then we're in business. So he's looking down, so how do we get like this big curve here? Kind of like this idea here of having like the silhouette of the characters' backs to us as they look at the explosion. We can play around with some of the lighting here just to get the angle to go over there. So he's looking over here. Still want Batman on the right. So these guys got to be on the left. Maybe we can just get a little gross. I don't like really doing side shots that often. One thing editors will check for though is your panel placements. Okay, guys. So don't do a lot of the same things. Like don't just have close-ups. Don't just have body shots. Back here we can probably put even Gotham City, just kind of silhouetted back there. The truck. Even put some of the factory in the foreground here. I don't even know if you guys can really see this because a lot of it's just scribble. That's okay. You can get the characters jumping out. And here maybe you'll have like a giant... It's this shot right here. Just kind of coming at us a little bit. Anyway, so... that's basically where I would go with it. It is radically different than what you have here. You are doing some things here, right? Like this is a flat shot, flat shot, flat shot, flat shot, flat shot. This is a bird's eye view, bird's eye view. Like even just changing this panel up here. Just being a little bit more, I'm going to start bringing in some diagonals just to get the eye to come back down. But this could be like the roof. If we were to show a repeating shape, this is something I learned in concept art of repeating shapes. It lets people know where they are in an image. Okay, so you got like these pillars here. Just repeat those pillars, you know. People get the idea. And you could have, you know, Batman here. Crouch down or something maybe. Like he's spying on them. Like body language is huge, right? So if you have him crouching down maybe a little bit, you could also just put like a big kick-ass moon behind him. Just to help frame it up a little bit. Right? And that also creates some tension with your lighting, because I'm a believer. Everybody draws their superheroes different. When I see Batman, I think shadows. That's my kind of Batman. If you're not good at shadows, I don't know if Batman's a character. Maybe Superman. Put some things in the foreground here, right? But you're just trying to get like a repeating shape, kind of going down there as well. And the other thing I would do too is I would flip this like that. See, this way we've got the truck coming in. Batman can still be on the right. All of these panels would have to change, but you could probably even do this. If you wanted to have the big bat, you know, like he could be. If you wanted a big close-up of him or something. I really wouldn't probably do that one there. That feels kind of weird. Anyway, I don't know if I helped you out there. Hopefully I did. It will look like we can try and jam in one more critique. Let me just scroll up there because I know you guys are asking. Let's just scroll up here, see whoever the first one is we can get to. Moogle May, John, can you please look at the proportions and rendering? Sure. Alright, so let's copy that. I like that there's a lot of people in here that are doing superhero stuff. It's good. I like it. Okay, so let's close that. Go back to the chat. Okay, so hey, Jessup. So this will be the last one here, guys, for the critique. And like I did say, I will be doing more streams throughout the week and stuff, but they're a lot more laid back. There's very little art feedback in terms of like what I'm doing right now. It's mostly just me working with some music on, and if you wanted to sit in. I do like to treat it kind of like an art studio, I guess, where everybody kind of comes in and everybody's got their projects and work to do. So if you kind of like that, then you might just enjoy it a little bit there. Okay, so let's turn this blue a little bit so we can see it. So the question I was asked was, can we check out the proportions and the rendering? So there's an area right away. Let me just turn that off of blue so you can see it. That sticks out right now, just looking at it based on that. Let's see how big this is. This area right here is wrong. And right now I'm just trying to find things that are wrong. You might want to add a little bit of the thigh there like that. It's not really a big deal, but the thigh is usually bigger than the calf. The leg might be a little longer. That's well, actually, yeah, it should be longer. If you do this here, here's a quick trick here. So this is the length that you gave the shin, and this is the length. I can't speak. You gave the thigh. You actually made the thigh shorter than the shin, so it should be the other way around. Okay, so let's just do this. I like to do this whenever we get these anatomy questions. It just makes things a little easier. We'll do it in dark red. We're just going to draw the skeleton over top, see how sound the skeleton is, and see if there was problems that got lost along the way. Okay? So let's try to figure out the chest here. One thing why I do like doing this with you guys is hopefully when you see it, you guys can understand more clear anyway why proportions or anatomy could be off. If you're not doing this, what I'm doing right now, before you start your own stuff, I highly recommend you try it, or that you do it, because it keeps you honest with what's going on with your proportions, as well as your anatomy, okay? Alright, so that's, well, let's put the pec line in here that you have. And you did break up the ribs there. Alright, so let's move this over. And move over this. Okay, so right away, I'm hoping you guys can see where some of the problem is here, okay? So the proportions you have are, so far, they seem a little bit feminine. They do feel a little feminine. The hips seem wider than the torso, and in males it's usually the other way around, right? So guys usually have the triangle up top, and then you can put some legs, whereas women tend to have, you know, whatever at the top, and then it goes triangle from the bottom, like this. It's upside down, okay? A really quick remedy, honestly, is this arm is way off. That shoulder is supposed to be way in here, but we can actually fix a lot of this problem right here. I'm just going to erase that whole arm. I'm going to go ahead and put in the shoulder where it should be. So your pec should be over here. I'm just trying to see what you're doing here. You kind of have the arm winding up, right? So if that's the case, probably bring the arm down like this so we can get the forearm and get the rest of the arm in like that. Really doesn't matter which way you move the arm up. Okay, so we'll have that. This arm needs a shoulder, which we don't have already. Now you're going to have your hips. This needs to be shrunk in. So what we will do is just grab our marquee tool with this. We're just going to move that all the way in like that. Let's just flip it to see if it's a little better. I'm just going to try to go a little quick here with this, and then we can jump into the shading and the rendering. So I'm thinking, again, this is Superboy. But he should still have some muscle to him. And you kind of have the right idea here. What you can do is you can actually just go in the opposite direction with this stuff here. Instead of going this way with the, I think it's serratus muscles, whatever they're called, is you just go above. It just changes the perspective, because the torso here is actually all supposed to be going above us, right? Like this character is above us here. So even the abs, just doing this sort of thing. Not drawing it at the bottom like you have here where the abs are going this way. Bringing the abs up like that sells that the character's form is going away from us or above us. But anyway, I'm not going to spend a bunch of the time on there. Let's go ahead and grab a pen. See how that looks. Go to black. Alright, so the shading that you have here, it looks like you have more of a feathered style. And what you want to do is, if you've got that feathered style, like this area all here looks like you got confused as to what's going on with the fabric. So try to break this stuff down into like its most basic shapes. Right, so you've got the cuff coming out, which is great. Maybe a couple crumples there for the cloth. And I know this character is a buff guy, so you want to always end up doing a little bit of roundness. But make sure that shoulder's in the right spot. And it's a jacket, right? So it's going to have this puff area up at the top. Just to make it a little clear, just where the pinch points are. And this is practice. I wouldn't expect you to know all this stuff right away. Definitely practice it up there. As for your lighting, let's look at the lighting for a second here. It's not 100% clear to me, but if I were to guess, I would say it's coming from the top. And the reason I say it's not 100% clear because you have some interesting lighting going on, where it's like you're getting hot spots on like that side of the calf, kind of on the front here. All of this is in shadow except some of the top here, but like none of the glove is in shadow. Then you've got this cast shadow that's right here from his neck. So let's go ahead and assume, let me just erase what I did here. I'm just going to re-ink over top of it here. Let's assume then that the ink is coming from the top left here, okay? So if that's the case, this rendering you have down here, you want like this. You don't need that. This is all like a cast shadow from the character. This kind of peck, this might be a style choice, you guys. But when you do like lines like this, those are feminine lines, okay? Like curves. Men generally, this is why I say it's a style choice, is sharp, aggressive, sturdy lines. Not that you can't have them for either sex. Unfortunately, this is a DC property, right? So if this is Superboy, it's a young Superman, right? And Superman is one of those characters that very few people get a chance to put their own unique spin on. Knowing that, Superman, in my opinion, and I think a few others, is he's a rock. He's solid. He's immovable. He's chiseled. He might not be ripped, but he's chiseled, you know? So the peck shouldn't really do this. You can do this line here, and you'll see a lot of artists do this. Here's the bottom of the peck, and then it's going up. It's confident lines for a confident character. Again. Now, if this is where the lighting would go, the abs would kind of come in. They'd get sucked in. And then they would pop back out here. Okay. But that lighting, you might want to go ahead and put all this in shadow. Depends on your style. I know like there's people that like Jim Lee kind of stuff, and he'll add like this muscle that's in here. I'm not sure what this black is. I'm not familiar with the costume either, so. I'm just trying to think what else here. Okay, so if you were going to wrap this form here, I would start really, if you're going to go into the shadow work back here, you would just black all this out. I wouldn't worry about noodling, you know, separating the cape from his anatomy. I really wouldn't worry about that. Or his jacket, I should say. Now we want that consistent lighting, so his knees got to have some lighting on it too. And I know when people draw male characters, when it comes to their junk, usually nobody really wants to draw it. Or if you feel like if you draw like, oh, what's this? Oh, there's the dick and balls, right? It's like, you know, some people really don't want to see that. But in saying that, there is some lines you can do here. Like the character does have a penis, right? Just when you draw females, they have breasts, right? Like they have anatomy. So all you really need to do is just kind of like insinuate where a lump roughly is, That way when you go in here and you're drawing his butt, when you draw the other butt cheek, well, that's weird. Let's draw a proper butt here. Like at least the anatomy's kind of fitting in, right? And we know that we want those aggressive, sharp shapes here for like the thigh. And you did this one thing here too. I see this. This is more of a style thing, but I know I keep saying style thing, but you did this thing with his leg where it kind of curves in like this, and that's still these are feminine lines. Whereas if his leg was in here, and then you cut in these lines, just shape. It's just pure like angles, and this is a style. This is all style. I know there's lots of artists that use curves with their characters. So unfortunately, you kind of have to hear where I'm coming from with that if it's not something you're into with your style. Anyway, but for the rendering, always remember the form and the shape that it's going in or wrapping around. So like the pecs wrapping up. So is this one. So are these guys. So, anyway, hopefully this helped you out a little bit. But yeah, keep it up. I do like what you had there. Let me just turn this junk off so you can go back to yours. I would keep going. You've got a lot of sound things that are working here for you, though. I didn't want to just come at you like, oh well, this is smut, all that stuff like that, right? There's a lot of really good things that are going on here. I would just be a little bit weary of what's going on. One other thing, if you wanted to just do a really quick adjustment to what you have here that might help, is since you have the cast shadow right here coming from his head onto there, that cast shadow should be everywhere in here, right? So he has his jacket. So let's wrap the jacket in here. Let's see if I can get a proper color that you're already using in here. That's a little better. Just wrap it around here, right? So we've got that. Got his muscles on the side. If you want to keep it white over there, that's cool. But again, this I would change to the pec. Just make it a little bit more straight on like that. And don't do this. Here we go. Now I'm going to leave this alone in a second. But I'm not a fan of like lumpy abs. Just be confident with it. If you were to do anything, if you had to, just a straight line, just to get that slickness, like this shape here that you're trying to get like that. It's very important for that shape there. And then the shadows start getting heavier the lower you go. And if you wanted to, you could bring some lighting into his face. You don't have to do this. It does age him, kind of. So that's your call. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Sorry about the hiccup in the beginning of trying to get the stream to work. Hopefully Eric and I will have one or two streams coming up where we'll be able to, get at least two of us talking. You guys might enjoy that. But yeah, so if you guys wouldn't mind, up at the top there, if you're not a follower, please click follow. Usually the service on Picarto is a little lame right now, but hopefully it'll start ironing itself out soon. So anytime I do some streams, even this show which is every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but my casual streams as well, If you guys are interested in checking those out, again, those are way more laid back. There's usually heavy metal music, or just I'll be listening to The Matrix or a movie while I'm drawing. Might have a headset on from time to time, but it's just sort of like a, if you wanted to sit in with me while I'm doing some work, by all means, check that out. And if you wanted to head over to jonathanrector.com, there's a whole bunch of resources up there you guys can check out. I do have the tutorial section at the top where it's kind of like a table of contents of my YouTube content. So if there's something maybe you're looking for a little specific help, perhaps I have done a video for it already, and you can just check there and do that. And if there's one thing that you guys could all do for me that I would highly appreciate, you guys do so much already, but if you do have artist friends or you think some of your art buddies or friends in general might like this stuff or the YouTube stuff or my comics, please share the channels around, share my website, do all that kind of stuff. And I guess the last thing, we'll wait for that. Well, yeah, we'll wait for that. I won't tie myself to anything for that. But if anything, I just want to say thank you guys for already being subscribers and doing all the things that you guys are already doing. You guys mean a whole bunch to me, and this show and everything that I'm doing wouldn't be possible if you guys didn't have an interest in it. So again, thank you guys so much for all that you have done and everything that you continue to do. I sincerely appreciate it. So you guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If I don't see you till next Wednesday, take care of yourselves. I hope your projects are profitable, and I haven't said this in a while, but I will say it again. I hope you guys are running into walls. I hope you guys are getting frustrated. I hope you're getting pissed off at art. I hope things aren't working out for you. I honestly hope you're struggling. Not to the point where you don't want to draw at all, but I hope you're getting angry and frustrated just to know that you're learning. You're running into a wall because, damn it, I can't draw sexy women faces. Damn it, I can't draw anatomy. Damn it, my panels all have the same sort of shot, or they're not energized enough. Just remember that anger is going to lead you, hopefully. Some of you, it'll actually weed you out, and unfortunately, art's not what you should be doing. But for the rest of us, it's that drive, it's the secret sauce that besides success and people really liking what you do, it's that anger